Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and I have yet another clean and simple design to share with you. This time I'm showing you how to take a large image and use only a small portion of it on a clean and simple card. This particular image is from Blooming Peonies. It's a huge stamp set. You can see as I'm holding it there, it's larger than my A2 card panel that I have. It's great for artwork and all kinds of different things. But I'm going to mask off the bottom of my panel of white cardstock, just kind of a little portion off the bottom. And then I'm going to line that up in my MISTI. The Post-it tape will actually help me hold it in place. And then I only want the very top of that image to show. And you'll notice as I put it on there, it's actually so big that it sticks out the bottom of my MISTI. But since I'm only using the top of the image, that's not going to be a problem. I'll just only push on the top. And I'll be careful not to push too hard because I don't want to flex the lid of my MISTI too much. But as long as you're careful not to push down on the bottom part of it and only pushing on the top, it seemed to work just fine. And if you're using a slightly smaller image, you won't have this problem. I was picking the biggest image I could find just to kind of show how you can take a huge image and only use a portion of it and still get a clean and simple design with it. Now that I've got that stamped, I'm going to pull it off. And just to kind of clean up that edge and make it look finished, I'm going to add a black line. This is just, it's another Copic friendly, I think this one's by Prismacolor, but there's Copic ones as well, and a ruler just to draw a line right on the bottom of that image where I'd masked it off. See how that just kind of cleans it off and finishes it and makes it look like the image was only intended to be that large, which is kind of a fun little trick. And then that little space I've saved at the bottom is where I'm going to add my sentiment. That sentiment is from the April 2018 sentiment kit called Grow in Grace. And it's a perfect, small, simple little sentiment to stamp on there. I used Gina K amalgam ink for all of this. That way I know it's Copic friendly and I'm going to get a good dark impression. It's a great ink for that, and very multi-purpose. Now I'm going to pull out a few simple Copics, and I went ahead, I had a request recently to zoom in a little bit more when I was doing my coloring, so I gave an attempt to do it on this. Let me know what you think and if you like that closer view. I'm only going to use 4 colors of Copic marker to color this in. I'm keeping it really, really simple. This first one is Y15, and I don't know if you can see, I'm hoping I zoomed in enough that you can. The way I'm coloring this image, and I'm not focusing super hard on trying to get every last bit of the image and hit all the way to the edges. I'm just kind of doing a loose, simple coloring that hits the main open areas of it. And then I'm going to add a little depth with my other color, but I'm leaving a little white space because that's actually going to kind of add to some of the detail on the image. And so that is on purpose. I'm not just messy coloring. I'm actually intentionally leaving a little bit of that uncolored. Now I'm coming in with the next, the darker yellow shade. That first one was Y15, the second one now is going to be Y17. And because there's little detailed dots on this image, I'm using those to help add my shading. So instead of blending a whole bunch, I'm just kind of adding some dots with this darker color that are going to blend in with the other. And in some places there aren't the dots, so I'm just kind of adding them in a similar style to the other one that does have the dots on there. So it's just kind of a fun way to add a little bit of shading and depth without having to do a bunch of coloring and back and forth. Now for the leaves and stem, again I'm only using 2 colors to blend together. The first color is YG03, and I'm following the same kind of technique that I did on the flowers and just kind of hitting the majority of those sections with the color without laying on tons of color or trying to put a lot all the way to the edges. I'm leaving a little bit of white spaces. And then I'm coming in with my next shade of green, which is YG25. And for this, I'm just kind of blending from the center out. I'm using a flicking motion and starting at the center of each leaf and just kind of flicking out from there. And then the same thing on the stems, I'm just adding a little bit of shading and shadow on the side of those. And there we go, super simple, super easy, but a fun way to use a large image and still get a clean and simple design. Thanks so much for coming by today. Hope you have a wonderful day.